What to Eat When by Michael Crupain, Michael Roizen, and Ted Spiker. Summary. In What to Eat When, board-certified physician Michael Crupain and internist Michael Roizen of the Cleveland Clinic go beyond general dietary recommendations to develop a tactical manual for how to fit your food to your body's altering needs. We cannot just approach our body like a vehicle that needs the same petrol and oil to function properly in any circumstance, according to the authors, who note that it is a dynamic ecosystem of organs, tissues, genes, and chemicals that change from day to day. Few realize that the best foods for us depend on our individual circumstances, despite the fact that many individuals seek to advise on what foods are the healthiest. Anesthesiologist Dr. Mike Roizen, Medical Director Dr. Michael Crupain, and Professor Ted Spiker, a former editor of Men's Health magazine, discuss the issue of emotional eating in their book What to Eat When. In their book, which was initially released in 2018, the authors describe their flexible diet strategy that adapts to the body's changing needs. The professional guidance in this uptime hack will not only advise you on what foods to consume, but also when you should eat them, whether you are under stress, ill, sleep-deprived, or need to get ready for a big interview. Our bodies are dynamic systems that need specific nutrients under specific circumstances. Most people only truly consider eating when they are trying to lose weight, and they end up concentrating almost exclusively on calorie counts. But food is much more than just a source of energy. Different foods are composed of various elements that offer various nutrients for various chemical releases throughout the body. Consuming carbohydrates raises our blood sugar levels. Our blood sugar rises the more simple the carbohydrate and the more of it we consume. Carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins are the three main macronutrients that our body needs. Eating complex carbohydrates rather than simple ones is preferable when it comes to carbohydrates. Sugars, cornstarch, and white flour are examples of simple carbohydrates, whereas grains and fiber are examples of complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates induce a blood sugar increase and a host of other health issues. If we want to lose weight, we should start by eating fewer simple carbohydrates and a wider range of foods in order to get our body to start burning fat for energy instead of sugars. Processed foods are tasty but unhealthy for the body since they are high in fat, sugar, and salt. Instead, we should emphasize consuming whole meals including fruit, vegetables, grains, and plant proteins. In particular, non-starchy veggies like asparagus and carrots, whole grains like quinoa and buckwheat, and healthy fats like those in fish and avocados should all be part of our diets. Throughout our bodies, carbohydrates transform into the fuel known as glucose. The glucose that we cannot immediately ingest remains in the blood until insulin, a molecule that transports it to muscles and fat cells, is produced. However, frequent glucose spikes brought on by eating too many carbohydrates raise the risk of gaining weight and contracting diseases like diabetes. With high glycemic meals like carbohydrates and sugars, it can be simple to get caught in a vicious loop since an increase in blood sugar triggers an increase in insulin, which quickly lowers blood sugar and makes us feel like we need to eat more. We ought to be aware of our fats. Do not be frightened of fats, particularly unsaturated fats. Some of them can be quite beneficial to us. Trans fats should be avoided, nevertheless, as they have been linked to cancer, heart attacks, and cancerous tumors. The times and amounts we typically eat are not necessarily best for our health. The majority of us simply eat at set cultural hours. But we can move toward maximum health by making more deliberate food choices. According to several studies, eating later in the day causes weight gain as opposed to eating early. Although having a large meal in the evening is considered the norm, eating during the day allows us to assimilate and digest food much better. Due to the resistance that our systems have developed to insulin throughout the day, they are inherently less responsive to its effects at night. Instead of backloading our regular eating routines, we need to change our habits. We should limit the amount of time we eat. aiming for a 12-hour window or less. In addition to eating earlier in the day, we are allowed to consume as many non-starchy vegetables as we like at our mealtime. At least 4 servings of whole grains and up to 7 ounces of chicken or seafood-based protein should be consumed each day. Breakfast should be our second largest meal of the day after lunch because skipping it will make us more ravenous later in the day. As we begin to alter our pattern, we could first feel hungry in the evening, but go slowly. Portion control wise, gradually lessen the size of our dinner. We'll likely be shocked by how hungry we can be after a light dinner if we're like many individuals who don't feel like eating until late in the morning. Our bodies urge us to consume during the day and stop eating at dusk. We can start experimenting with what and when we eat if we can get through cultural boundaries and ingrained behaviors. Try to eat your lunch or dinner for breakfast rather than merely consuming a lot of calories in the morning. Dinner should be as light as possible, ideally a salad or vegetables, whereas our early meals should mostly consist of protein, fat, and whole grains. If you're in the mood for something sweet, consider yogurt with berries, a banana, or some dark chocolate instead of sugary snacks. Eat only in the light. Humans are wired to only eat when it is light outside because we did not evolve with electricity. Try to limit your eating to the daytime and, if at all feasible, to a 12-hour window or less. Change up your meal times. Try to avoid having your largest meal at night. Take into account having your typical dinner for breakfast or lunch and something lighter for dinner. You are not required by law to eat eggs for dinner and chicken in the morning. Our hunger can be considerably influenced by our emotions and circumstances in life. Every day, unexpected problems and circumstances arise in life. When it comes to food, these can influence how we feel and cause us to act more impulsively. We are less likely to be affected by emotional triggers if we eat a balanced diet. Set up a regimen to help you eat more frequently, and keep plenty of fresh food on hand so you can turn to it rather than cookies and chips when you're feeling down. Avoid sweets when you're upset, emotional, or exhausted since the crash that follows the high will make you feel even worse. Choose veggies over chips, water over a drink, and a salad over donuts as an alternative to these unhealthy foods. Make yourself some complex carbs, like avocado on whole grain toast, if you're feeling low. A Mediterranean diet rich in fish, vegetables, and olive oils is often found to be effective in reducing the signs and symptoms of depression. You are particularly susceptible to food cues like odors and aromas when you are hungry. The secret is to eat foods that will keep your emotions at a low simmer while maintaining a healthy blood sugar level. So, eat right even when you're unwell. Give your body the nourishment it needs to fight off illness when you are ill. Drink lots of water all day long, and add garlic, ginger, and mushrooms to your meals to support your immune system and speed up healing. Boost your brain power while increasing stress. Eat whole grains if you're feeling worried or need to deliver a crucial presentation to maintain your blood sugar levels. The majority of diet advice categorizes things as good or bad, although our bodies metabolize various foods in a variety of different ways. Our brains are physically programmed to make us crave the wrong foods at the wrong times, but if we can resist these desires, our long-term health will be much improved.